Alright everyone, what are we doing here?
Screwing in the motherboard.
Yeah, so we're building a computer. Wayne's doing. Wayne's building a computer from scratch. So tell us, what do you need to build a computer? I mean, we bought all the parts from Micro Center. So
yeah, so basically you need a motherboard.
it's the board on the bottom, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, we're going to quiz you on this. So the board on the bottom is the motherboard.
Okay.
Kind of holds everything together.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to get a CPU.
CPU. It's the big one. This one.
It's yes and no. It's under the big one.
Oh, it's under the big one. Okay.
yeah.
That's tricky.
That's the CPU fan to keep things cool.
Okay. Is it visible from this angle or no?
Kind of. You see down there? It's right under there.
Okay.
It's like attached to it.
Cool. Okay.
Then this is like the CPU cooler or fan. That's what it's called.
Ah, okay. CPU cooler. So you need a CPU on the motherboard and a CPU cooling fan on the CPU.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like a heat sink. It
Okay.
captures all the helps cool it down. Then the other thing that we need is give me 1 second here to get this screw. So it's obviously in a case.
Yeah.
You have to get the right case to match the size of the motherboard. But they're fairly standard.
How do you decide how big of the motherboard you want?
You kind of like start with how big of a case you want, at least in my perspective.
Yeah.
So if you want like a massive case and you want like a massive computer to go with it, you can do that. But you don't necessarily, you can have a big case and then keep a normal size motherboard inside as long as it fits it.
Okay. And I know that's a fan
Yeah, there you go.
over
Okay.
there. Okay.
On top of it. Yeah, so the fans you'll see there's like they actually come with the case. And you can buy more as well. But these just plug into the motherboard. So the motherboard basically doesn't
That's a fan.
have the power, but it kind of like is a conduit for the power.
I see. So you have two fans.
Yeah, but you can
One
add more.
fan
We'll add
over
more
there.
later on.
One fan over there. Okay. Okay. What else on the motherboard? All of those. Did you add
Yeah,
all
no,
of those?
those are standard. So something you can't see that's under here is it's a hard drive. So there's a hard drive that's literally the size this big.
Okay.
That's like an M2 PCIe hard drive that has 2 terabytes of storage and doesn't require power. So it's nice because you don't need any wires. It's plugged in directly to the board. It's and it's faster than your normal
Okay. Do I have
solid
one?
state. You do not.
Uh-oh.
You will survive.
I won't.
You will.
I'll need an external hard drive.
Yeah, well, they serve different purposes. So everything is pretty much in place now. The motherboard's screwed in.
So hard drive, CPU cooler, fans.
Yeah.
So far.
That
Okay.
and one more piece is I don't know if I want the RAM. So there's another type of memory that's right here.
Yeah.
We put in 4
I
sticks that are
know.
over.
Short-term memory, right?
Yeah.
See? See? I have some basic computer science. No, this is engineering. What is it?
I don't know. What knowledge do you have, and then maybe we can work our way in from there.
It's double E.
Yeah.
I think it's double E.
So this is just so you see too. This comes on the motherboard
hardware.
itself, but this is actually just to help like cool things down. It's actually specifically built for that, and most are built like that. And I've noticed.
So that's another cooling thing?
It's not like cooling. It's more like it helps get the heat out.
Okay.
So it's not like a fan. It's not going to blow air, but it helps disperse the heat.
Okay.
So that's that for now.
it. Okay. That's all you need for your computer?
Well, depends on a lot of things. So.
And tell us what's that blue thingy that is attached to your
This
wrist.
is just to prevent from shocking anything.
Okay.
So like when you're working with expensive pieces, you just wear this as a safety precaution.
Okay.
So technically there's one more piece which I'm going to go get and open now, but there's technically a graphics card that we need to put in here as well. Not all computers need it, but most modern computers, like if you're building your own computer, you kind of want to use it. There's
Most
nothing.
gamers have it.
Yeah, there's nothing back there to see.
Okay.
But the back here on the back end side, it's not on this because this is a specific type of motherboard, but older computers will actually have sometimes its own integrated graphics on the board. It's terrible, 99 times out of 100, but it's just there as a nice backup.
I think my current one has one.
Yeah, it was very common for them to have it for quite some time. Okay, so that's that. And then it gets the GPU set up, and then we're good to start putting things in.
Alrighty.
Okay, so
Okay, now we're installing graphic cards.
yeah, so we need to basically make space for it. I'm gonna put the
Okay.
graphics. I don't want to hold this one.
Okay. The graphic cards is definitely bigger than I expected. It has 3 cooling fans on its own. I thought it would be like this small of the graphic
That's why
cards.
you're an amateur.
Okay.
So most cards are really big, so they require you to take out 2 of these slots to give you enough space to fit the card. So there's a couple things to call out. Card itself, you got to be very careful with where you're holding it. But you'll see here, most people don't notice that this actually comes with like a protective cover on it. So you have to take that off, otherwise it's not going to work.
Okay.
Right, so we're just going to flip this back over. Just got to be careful of where you grab it. You got to be careful with how you grab it, but we're going to flip it over and we're going to find the slot. So I like to go in at an angle just so I can make sure that I'm kind of hitting the spot that I wanted to. And then what I do is take a look and realize that I need to go one lower too. So this top one here, remember how I said remember how I said you needed to take out 2? I took out the top one instead of the next 2 and 3. So
see.
this is gonna come out. It's gonna go back on the plastic.
Do you put the first one back on though?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
So just gonna take this off.
I like that you used we can do that.
Yeah, well, I gotta make it seem like you're doing something here, you know?
I am, alright?
Yeah. Okay, so this is going back in now. Okay. Okay. Taking this time. Okay, now we're going back for round 2. Round 2. I go in not like at an angle to put it in at an angle, but just to find the slot properly, make sure I'm not like completely off. And then it's a little bit of a I want to say guess and check, but kind of a guess and check. You open the pins on the I can't even show you from this angle anymore, but essentially there's a little pin that you have to open up before you put the card in. And then once it's in, it kind of locks into place. So here, if you want to try it yourself even, don't pull too hard, but just pull a little bit and you'll see that it's kind of like in place.
Okay. Solid.
So now we just put these little pieces back in. And the last thing is the most stressful or the most satisfying? Well, there's actually 2 more things.
Close the box.
No.
Oh, okay.
You have to connect the wires. Nothing's connected to anything. So this right here, which you don't know yet, but this is a power slot. So I have to put power in the graphics card for it to run. So that, you noticed it probably earlier with the fans. These need to be hooked up to the motherboard. There's a whole separate unit in the back that supplies the power.
I see. So the lights, the string lights I was gonna get today has the same thing.
Yeah, but
as the
that's why
fan.
you need to look at what slots are actually available around the computer to see if it's actually something you
Okay, so
can
we're
do.
going back for those lights.
Can't just YOLO stuff. Okay, so one more thing here. This is just, and what I like to do is, I actually like to take off the, give me a second here. Oh, that one's already plugged in. Normally the wires, like these fan cords, I just like to put them outside. Like they come up bunched up and like tied up and you can leave them here.
Yeah.
But it's just in the way always. It's just not a good
Okay.
thing. So now we're gonna stop for a second and get ready to do the next part. All right, so this is the motherboard cable, denoted by the MB. So one part of this wire will plug into the power supply, which is on the bottom of the computer, and the other plugs into the actual motherboard. Now all of these...
So this part goes on motherboard.
Yeah, in this case, this one goes on the motherboard,
And that one is power.
No, the other one down here is power.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
whole
Okay,
separate one
okay.
that has to go on the motherboard.
Okay.
Something else to show, which some people get confused about, it's probably hard to see, but there's a little bit of a pin there where it sticks out. And that kind of helps you not mess up for the most part. So each of these are a unique size for the most part. And so when you plug it into the motherboard, there's only one slot that fits it.
Okay.
So it kind of makes your life a little bit easier.
Cool.
But we're going to start working on all the cables and wires now, which is going to be a little bit separate.
Okay. It will take 1 second.
Yep.
Starting now. Okay. Walk me through the additional cords.
So we added power to the power supply. We added the audio connector in the front, which is down here on the right hand side. There's a plug for everything. So if you think about your computer, when you have a power button, you have a reset button, and you have like a shutdown function, down here there are 3 different cords that actually run into that. And that's all of the front panel functionality.
Okay.
And then you have the main, you have the USB connectors as well for USB 3. And then you just have these other cords are the fans that are either the CPU fan or the front or the back fan. So relatively in good shape. Probably will spend some time later on after I make sure it's running well to fix some of the cords and clean it up and hide more. But it's nice because that little, the M2, the SSD, remember I mentioned earlier? Because of that in there, you don't actually have cords. So normally you used to have, for each hard drive, you'd have a power and you'd have a data cable. So you'd have 2 cables per hard drive. But with that, it's pretty nice. It's just in and done.
But I don't have it. I don't have it.
Yeah, but your that computer's already set up.
Alrighty. That's how you build a computer.
All done.
Yay! Okay, now we put a lid on.